defeated. Macron gave in to facts admitting Boris have the upper hand over ongoing fishing row. Emmanuel Macron has been warned the fishing row with France will harm EU industries that are dependent on the existence of UK products. France's Minister for Europe has called on the European Union to take retaliatory measures against Britain if there is no resolution to the post-Brexit row over fishing licenses by December 10. The European Commission has said the dispute must be settled by the deadline as it upped the pressure on the UK in the negotiations. The leader of Britain's National Federation of Fishermen's organisation Boris explained the fishing rows will harm everybody. Speaking to express.co.uk, Mr. Dees said, "It would impact us ultimately down to the vessel level. I think it would impact on everybody. There are businesses in France and the EU that are dependent on fish and shellfish from the UK for their existence. There would be harm all around." It's quite interesting that voices have now been raised within the French industry expressing concern about the implications of that. Then there is a threat to zero-tolerance enforcement, and I suppose the scholar who was arrested in Le Havre is an example of that. There was some kind of administrative slip-up. Something like that would have been dealt with by a phone call. Clearly our vessels fishing in French waters would be exposed, but there are many more French vessels fishing in UK waters than UK vessels fishing in French waters. If we were going to go down that tit-for-tat rabbit hole, then everybody would be harmed. Clement Beaune on Wednesday stressed it is not a Franco-British issue, but a problem between the whole of the European Union and the UK. Mr. Beaune said French punitive measures, such as a ban on British trawlers landing their catches in French ports and tighter customs checks to hamper cross-channel trade, remain on the table if a deal cannot be reached. He told French radio network RTE, "It was the European Commission that told the British, so all of Europe together, that if you don't make big gestures with a lot of licenses on December 10, we are no longer in a European dialogue." On the potential ban by the French, Mr. Beaune added, "It's one of the possible options, but it's better, to be honest, to have European measures. All options are on the table because it's better to have a dialogue, but if it doesn't bear fruit we can take European measures." France's Maritime Minister Annick Girardin also warned of European retaliatory measures, telling the West France newspaper on Tuesday that London is testing the solidarity of the European Union in the spat. Mr. Beaune said talks between Britain, France, and the European Commission on the issue have intensified and are happening daily. The main source of contention is the number of licenses to fish in waters around the British coastline for smaller French vessels that can prove they operated in those waters before Brexit. Meanwhile, in another news, Guernsey has issued all the post-Brexit fishing licenses France says its fishermen are entitled to for fishing in waters around the UK. The Channel Island announced on Twitter that it has granted 43 licenses for fishing vessels registered in Brittany and Normandy. The licenses were issued under Article 502 of the UK-EU Trade and Cooperation Agreement, which stipulates that fishermen can fish in British waters if they apply for a licence and can prove they operated there in the past. The 43 licenses mean that the fishermen can continue to fish in the English Channel from February next year. Guernsey official Jonathan Latuck said, "We have reached a significant milestone in our licensing roadmap announced back in September. We value our good relationships with Normandy, Brittany, and La Manche, and I hope that today's announcement provides welcome certainty and stability in this new era." France's Seas Minister Annick Girardin said the new licenses is excellent news, but that French fishermen are still waiting for dozens more from Britain and Jersey. France has said that Britain is failing to respect their agreed licensing system, an accusation that the latter denies. French President Emmanuel Macron, who faces an election next year, has said his government will not rest until his fishermen have all the licenses they are owed. The EU has given Britain until 10 December to take action to help resolve the issue. French fishermen protested last week by temporarily blockading the port of Calais and Channel Tunnel rail link in efforts to disrupt trade between Britain and the continent. The action was taken days after 27 migrants died in the channel after the dinghy carrying them deflated and capsized. Dinghy